Okay, the call has been recorded now. Okay, cool. So, so we got that far last week, and we saw that there are really good advantages of adopting the BDD practice. Really, really good advantages. We saw all of those last week: collaboration, shared understanding, business-friendly language, etc. We saw all of that, and we looked at an example using our what did we use? The scenario of the local restaurant in Northampton. That's what we used. It went really well. You gave me these scenarios: given, when, then. You gave me those scenarios, and it went really well. It went really well. So that's what we did last week, and I received quite a few calls after that session. One of the ladies that rang me, she was talking about a course, another course, and she used this syntax, this Gherkin syntax, which was quite funny, to to make a case for herself. I thought that was funny, but rather encouraging that people got it. People definitely got it. Okay, cool, excellent. Can you remind people that we need to stay on mute, please, until when we need to speak, so that the disturbance is reduced. Now, this is the point for me to say: is there any questions from last week that people would like us to cover? Is there any questions you want me to go through from last week? We saw that lovely fruit, vegetable, cucumber. Remember that? We saw that as a software tool that is used to run automated tests if it's written in BDD. What else did we see last week? And that was it for last week. And then I gave you a takeaway assignment. I gave you this scenario, which we've always had, actually to come back with scenarios from it written in Gherkin style. So given, when, then, all right? So I don't know if people tried their hands on that. If you tried your hand, can I ask you to come off mute and let us know how you got on with that, please? If you tried your hand on that, and if you would like to speak up. Hello? Okay, who wants to share on what they did based on the assignment I gave you last week?
Hi, Fred. This is Chike.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. All right. Yeah, I tried to do four of them in BDD style.
Yes.
So, and I did existing customer, two of them, and then I did new customer, two. So I start with, given that I am an existing customer, I log into BSP bank website. Sorry, given that I am an existing customer, when I log into BSP bank website and click view aesthetics, then I should see the aesthetics page. The second one is, given that I am an existing customer.
Pause for a second, okay? I think that sounded good. Can you take it one more time? Just take it one more time, let's be sure. Yeah.
All right. I am an existing customer. When I log into BSP bank website and click view aesthetics, then I should see the aesthetic page. Next one, should I continue?
Just pause for a little while. Guys, is there any feedback on that? So Chike here has given us this a Gherkin syntax based on this example one that we have on the screen right now. Does anyone not agree? I think it kind of sounded all right. Does anyone have any views on that?
Hi, Fred. This is Rex.
Hey, Rex.
Hello. I think my opinion is, I don't know, the aesthetics is supposed to be the look and feel of the web page. Is that what we should interpret it as?
The look and feel of the card, of the card. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I think, there should be an image of the card of how it looks on the website, isn't it? And necessarily we're viewing the aesthetics as an object.
Yeah. On the website, you're right. Yes.
So I think it should be given when I as an existing customer, when I log in, I should be able to view the cards to see what they look like. That's how I interpret it.
Say that one more time, Rex. Given
as an existing customer, when I log in, when I log in, then I would be able to view the page. View the cards, view what the cards look like.
Got it. Okay, good. Thanks, Rex, for speaking up. The only challenge I have with that is you may not immediately see the card when you log in. There may be further action for you to take to be able to see the card.
Yeah.
And that may be what Chike was referring to. I think that's what he was referring to. Yeah.
I have similar in a different way. If I can just read mine and then
please go
on. So mine, I said, given that I am an existing customer, when I log onto the website, then I will see an advert with different types of travel cards available.
I think that will pass. I don't know what people think on the call, but I think that will pass because I'm as you're talking, I was going on that journey with you. I'm a customer of this bank. I log in, boom, I see the cards.
Yeah.
Once, right? I think that will pass. Thank you. Chike, do you want to give us a second one? Thank you, Rex. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Give us one more.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
So the second one is given that I am an existing customer and I log into the BSP website, when I click review benefits, then I should be able to review benefits.
Okay. What do you mean by review benefits? I know what it means, but what do you mean? That might be ambiguous because one of the benefits of using this Gherkin syntax is that it's really broken down so that
one be checking to lie down. We are 1 or 2 hours.
All right.
Just CV me no, just wash myself.
Mute, please.
Yeah.
Was that your friend?
No, it wasn't from my property. Trust me. It's definitely one from my property. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, Chike, do you understand where I came from when I made that comment? So, what do you mean by review? Can you break that a bit further down for us? Do you mean look at the cards? Do you mean compare the interest rates? What do you mean by review? You see? I've put you on mute, Chike, by the way. You need to put yourself off mute if you're talking.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. So I think this can be broken down into about 4 or 5, subcategories.
Yes, sir. You get it. Give us an example of one of the subcategories you're considering.
So, is someone else speaking?
Go on, Chike.
If we're not I just log on to.
Chike, please go ahead.
All right. So, given that I am an existing customer and I log into the BSP website, when I click review benefits, where does the den now go? I think you're going to have a lot of dens. Is that so then?
Why not? See, the whole idea is to create scenarios, right? Because you're a customer. When you go there, what are the possible scenarios you're going to go through? That is what we are trying to achieve here. Put down as many scenarios as possible so that when these guys are building, they will think about the scenarios. When we are testing, we'll think about the scenarios and make sure we miss nothing out. You are 100% correct. So we need to think. You see, that is why you don't do it by yourself, right? You do it with 2 more amigos, right? So you bring thoughts from here, that thought is brought, and then we build something really cool. So thank you, Chike, thank you, Rex, and everyone else that spoke up. That was good. I love the.
Can I say something?
Is that someone speaking to me?
Yeah, it's someone speaking. Hi, hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I was just wondering, what if he keeps it like that here, and it just breaks down what review is in the acceptance criteria section?
You can't do that if you have the luxury of that. Now, I suppose this is the beauty of Agile. Agile is really agile. It's not as rigid. It's quite flexible. So what you really find is that some people will use the Gherkin syntax to write their acceptance criteria already. So what you're suggesting, they will use that language to write it anyway. And that in reality, that's what most companies do. Some of us will just write the scenarios and that's all they have, no acceptance criteria. That is it. Actually, I rephrase that. The acceptance criteria is already in there anyway. When it says then, that is your acceptance criteria. So some companies could decide to have a list of acceptance criteria to back that up. It's up to them. I suppose that's the beauty of Agile. It's quite flexible. You adapt it to fit your very purposes and how you're structured as an organization. I got asked earlier on today, what if we're using BDD already? Sorry, what if we're using JAD sessions, and is it wise for me to now want to introduce BDD there again? You see, my response was quite straightforward, right? Nothing stops you from combining two practices. Nothing stops you from combining multiple practices if it works for you, right? Nothing says that if you kick this out and start using this, that you're going to start making more money as a business, right? It's agile, it's flexible. If what you like is here, take it. If what you like is also there, take it, merge it. In reality, we're talking about agile. In reality, most companies out there don't really practice agile 100%, do they? It's element of structural, element of a traditional approach, element of waterfall in what they do, for good reasons, right? For good reasons. If you're highly regulated, like a bank is, it might be a little bit tricky to go 100% agile. It just might be. So to take good parts of here, good parts of them, merge it and get something really cool for themselves. Okay, so that's a good recap. Thank you guys for giving us that reminder. And then let's take the last question before we proceed. Yeah.
Sorry, please. Coming back to this, when I click review benefits, then you ask me, so what are benefits? We all know what benefits are. Let's say 20% discount after sign-on. Let's say 30% voucher as a returning customer. Now, these breakdowns, where does it come? Does it come under the when or under the then?
I'll put them under the then. So when I click on the benefits section, I will see the discounts available to me.
All right then.
Yeah. So you can group all of what you just said under discounts, right? Then they will now start seeing 20%, 30%, whatever it is. Yeah. Discounts available to you. That's the then. So the then is what will happen when you take the action eventually. Let me pull my slide back up, Chike. That will be good. Look at that. Is what the user should expect, right? What you should expect. You should expect when you do something. So the when is what you would do, the action you would take, right? Okay. And then the then is what you should expect when you've taken that action. Okay. Fantastic. So that's what we saw last week, and it was really cool. The week before that, we went through impact mapping. Again, was really cool. Okay, impact mapping, which was really cool, and I hope people remember that and have been making use of that in their everyday life, maybe at work. Okay, sorry guys. TJ or Prince or someone from MS Careers that is on as mentioned careers, can you please give me back the host right? Thank you. So we looked at impact mapping, and the week before that we looked at story mapping as well. Any questions at all from any of those topics before we proceed to hearing from people today? Any questions? Okay, perfect. That is good. I'm sure there will be questions as we step through what we do.
Hello, Fred.
Hi.
Sorry, I was trying to chip in, but I think I was on mute when I called in.
It's all right.
I believe, somebody asked a question in terms of the different scenarios. He was asking where would the reviews come in. So the answer to that one is that is why we have separate scenarios that we write acceptance criteria for.
All over the site.
We can have a scenario where, let's say, where.
Sorry, Prince, you need to bring yourself off mute again. I've had to mute everyone because there's someone who.
Sorry, no problem. So we could have a scenario, for instance, where customers are returning customers, but they qualify for maybe 20% discount. Then we would write a set of acceptance criteria for that particular scenario. We could also have another scenario where maybe the customer is a premium customer VIP, so they qualify for 50%. Then we would write a set of acceptance criteria for that scenario. So that is how the acceptance criteria goes with the scenario. The scenario defines the condition, a particular situation. Then we write, okay, if it's the customer is a returning customer, normal customer, give them 20%. We'll write the acceptance criteria. Then if we'll write a separate scenario, if the customer, then you will write it that way too as well. Also, one thing to add is in terms of writing your acceptance criteria, always remember that your given is the precondition or the prerequisite, what needs to be in place. So some people said, given I am a returning customer, for me, it will be difficult for the whoever is going to develop or to test to be able to determine that. So they went by given that I am a returning customer when I log into it and I do a certain action. Yeah, so always remember your given is the prerequisite. The when is the action that the person or whoever the user is needs to perform, then the result. So it will be better to say.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And just stay on, Prince. We've got. I'm glad you're speaking already because you're one of the people that we had lined up to speak today anyway. When you said you have your Gherkin and then you have a set of acceptance criteria, it sounds like that is how it's been done in one of the places you've worked. Is that?
That is correct. Yes.
Good. Okay. Perfect. So now, how have you written those acceptance criteria following the scenario writing that you've done?
Okay, so I'll give a typical example. In Aviva, the Agile game is really on point. They are one of the companies that is pioneering it, and everything is in place. So as a business analyst, it's a typical Agile Scrum framework. We would, engage in all the, Scrum ceremonies, which is really, really vital. So if you know it, you'll fit in easily. But in terms of the business analyst role, you would normally engage with your stakeholders, which is your product owner and other, business stakeholders to identify these requirements. You would write your normal user stories. Then you would write your acceptance criteria for the.
Prince, I'm sorry for being rude. I'm going to have to stop you there. Let's get a bit structured because you've gone a bit far. You've lost.
Okay, cool.
So, Aviva, right? What Agile framework were you adopting there? Was it Scrum? Was it?
It's Agile Scrum.
Was Scrum, right?
Okay. Typical Scrum environment.
Just to put it in context for everyone on the call, we speak Agile, but then there are different types of Agile, different frameworks in the world of Agile. And now one of the most popular is Scrum. And what we're hearing, that is what Prince is referring to because that's what was implemented in that experience he worked on, right? Now, as part of that Scrum, how did you go about eliciting your requirements? I think that's where you got to. Do you want to recap on that?
Oh, sure. So my first point of contact would always be with my product owner. So my product owner owns the product that we are all working on. He gives direction in terms of where the product would go. Say, for instance, let's take Aviva mobile platform, okay? Aviva sells a number of products across their range. It could be car insurance, life insurance, investments. So if my product owner owns the mobile platform, that is his remit. Okay, he determines what we can add and what not. However, we do also have other product owners who maintain the different services that Aviva provide, like your pensions, your car insurance, life. So these other product owners would normally bring work to us and say, okay, I want you to maybe update the mobile web so that the pension customers would be able to see, let's say, their current balance or something like that. And it is my product owner's decision to ask to when we can do this job. But when it comes to the elicitation of these requirements, I would go back to these people that raise those requests, liaise with them to understand what the requirements are. I would probably even go and speak to some other technical people to see where the data resides, etc. So it's a whole lot of different stakeholders.
It sounds like, are you talking about you being a BA on this particular project?
Yes. So once I've done all of this, I would write my requirements, write the acceptance criteria, then coming back to the BBD situation that you talked about earlier, I would have a 3 amigo session with my developer and my tester. Then we or our QA person and go through the requirements that I have written to make sure that in terms of dev point of view, test point of view, everything has been covered. So in short, it's a way of us making sure that all the requirements that are brought forward are what we called sprint ready before we even push it into the refinement sessions and everything. Then it's ready for the sprint.
Makes sense to me. Thank you, Prince. Whilst you're still on, Prince, is there any questions for him based on what he's just explained? Is there any questions? Okay, good. Any questions?
I have a question. It's Jackson here. Prince.
Hello, Jackson.
Hi, Prince. Would you describe that as a typical day for you on any project? Could it be a bit more complicated? Because this sounds pretty straightforward and
okay.
yeah, we don't want to be locked up in that.
It's not so complicated. Yeah. One thing is, so far as you understand the environment that you are in, yeah, it's an Agile Scrum environment. You understand all the elements that makes up that framework. Okay. You understand the different ceremonies, the different people that work in it, and each person's duties. Then the rest is you just doing your normal elicitation, identifying the stakeholders, booking some time to understand the requirements from them, writing your user stories, writing the acceptance criteria, getting some time with the developers and the testers to do your 3 amigo sessions. The majority of the work, the framework provides the environment for you to be able to do it. Does that make sense? Because I believe if you are on this call and you've done a training with us, that means you know how to write your user story.
Of course, I know how to write a user story. Yeah.
You know how to. We were just giving good examples of the acceptance criteria. You already know that. Yeah. The only thing that is missing is for you to understand, for someone to teach you, and for you to participate in that environment, for you to be able to fit in. Yeah, because if you walk in there and you don't understand the Scrum environment, trust me, you would feel very, very lost.
I think he's no 100% agree, Prince and Jackson. So
Let me add the video.
One second.
I'll add the video.
Okay, so just to add that this weekend, I believe it's this weekend, 30th and 31st of May, I will be leading my colleagues to take people through the Agile Scrum course. So this weekend, I'm sure it is, Saturday and Sunday, 30th, the last 2 days of May, we'll be in class, in a virtual class, taking people through everything there is to know in the world of Agile Scrum. To Prince's points, that will make you aware of what to expect. You then know what to expect when you step in there. For those of you who have not already stepped in, you know what to expect, you know who you're going to work with, etc. Now, we've gone through quite a bit in the past 4 weeks, I know that, but there is a lot more, right? And all of that is covered this weekend, and there will be another one next month, end of next month. But this weekend, if you haven't been Agile trained, you are highly encouraged. It's highly recommended for you to take up this course. It will be virtual, so you could join from wherever you are. Where are we? UK, Ireland, the US, Nigeria, Australia, kind of wherever you are in the world. If you've got good internet connection, you can join us. So give me a call afterwards. Let's sort you out and get you on there. It's also a certified course, right? So you see an exam end of it, and the certifying body is scrum.org. If you pass the exam, you will be you become certified. You become a certified Scrum Master, which is great, which is highly sought after. So have a think on that, and highly recommend it. Okay, Prince, thank you. Hold that thought there, Prince. We'll come back to you in a second.
Sure.
Is there any more questions before we move ahead?
Hi, Fred.
Hi.
Yeah.
Just a quick one.
Yeah.
You know, while the sprint is still the sprint is on,
Yes.
what will the BA be doing at the time? Because obviously he's had meetings with the three amigos, and they've all debated, agreed, and validated their requirements. So everyone has all gone back to their various positions. So what will be the BA doing then? Thank you.
Okay.
I will get Prince to answer that, but before that, Emmanuel, I have a question for you, right? You've used the word sprint. Can you tell people on the call what sprint is, and then we'll answer that question so that everyone's on the same page? Do you see?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think sprint, in my own opinion, is when I believe when the deliverables are being worked on.
100% correct. 100%. Thank you, Emmanuel. So a sprint is a time period within which we should deliver something that is usable. So, for example, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 4 weeks. So start of May to end of May is a sprint. It's a duration within which you deliver something. So, Prince, do you want to answer that question? What would it be as having written the requirement?
Yeah, so you will be doing these activities as I mentioned. So if we are in this current sprint, that means that my developers already have items that they are working on within this sprint. Yeah. Right. Ideally, as a business analyst, when they are working on these items in the current sprint, we want to be working on the next set of requirements that we want to make ready for them to work on in the following coming sprint. So the next sprint after, because remember, we do have a product backlog that we are working from. So our job is to make sure that all the work that is coming up in the next sprints, we are working on these requirements and getting them what we call sprint ready. We don't want a situation where they are halfway through the work and the requirement, they can't really make head or tail of it. So we want to get all the requirements and the acceptance criteria in a position where it is sprint ready. So we'll be working on future requirements, making it ready for the subsequent sprints that are yet to come.
Perfect. Thank you, Prince. And the other question for you, Emmanuel, you don't have to answer it.
Yeah, can I add something up on that?
Yeah, go ahead, Cordelia. That's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, guys, my name is Cordelia. Just to top it off on what Prince just said, I'm saying this based on my own experience.
Good.
When an item is already in sprint, personally, I will be working on the item which we picked up for the next sprint. Yeah, and while I am doing that, I will still be entering our daily stand up with the current sprint, which our guys are doing. And in that situation also, sometimes there has been series of situation whereby the product owner comes and make changes based on what the customer wants. And in that case, what I do is to write an additional or alignment stories and put it in the backlog that will be picked up on for the next sprint. And the guys just continue doing exactly what they're doing. Then the next sprint will now pick up that alignment stories. And in that same sprint too, as a BA, sometimes the Scrum team, the dev team might not get something right, and they will want to come back to me for more explanation for them to know what that is. And me as a BA, if I don't know that 100%, I go back to the customer to actually get the confirmation, and I must ensure that I'm communicating. Even if I'm communicating with them on the phone, I will still send them an email for confirmation and to actually attach that their comments and their explanation to my Jira ticket, or sometimes I will link it up to my conference page to ensure that this is what this customer said at this time, at this day, and also attach the person's signature to ensure that if they are asking, Cordelia, why did you change it? I will say, no, I did not change it. This is what the customer says. It's not me, it's the customer, and we have to do what the customer says. So sorry, I'm sorry I'm talking too much, but that's my...
That was brilliant. Thank you for sharing that, Cordelia. You know, each time I hear, personally, let me just share this with you guys. Each time I hear people from MS Careers Network share, I have this sense of, get really excited, like, oh wow, this is great. These are products of MS Career. So thank you for sharing that. That is great. Give us a great feeling. Perfect. Thank you, Prince. Thanks, Cordelia. Now, TJ, let's come to you if you're on. Could you, from your own experience as well, let's hear from you. Your own Agile experience, pick one of them. What have you worked on? What framework have you used? How have you delivered what you delivered, or how are you delivering it? And then I'm sure we'll have follow-on questions to ask you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Trust you've been keeping well and safe this period. Well, personally, can you hear me though?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Personally, I've worked on quite a few Agile projects. But at the moment, I'm working with a different framework. This is the SAFe. It's called SAFe. So that's Scaled Agile. Some people call it Scrum of Scrums. You know, it's not like the regular Scrum that everyone kind of used to. So this is a little bit different. So I'll kind of break it down a little bit. So we do have something called PI planning. So that's product increment. So we kind of plan ahead the features or the activities we are looking to deliver in the next 3 months. So say we're in January now. So we plan to deliver, we'll plan in January for features for January, February, March, right? And then we then roll this out in sprint. So in a particular PI, you might have like, I want to believe everybody understand what sprint stands for and things like that, right? So we kind of have like 5 sprints in a PI. So we normally do, because it's more like a program thing, so we normally have our PI planning at the stadium. So this is like inviting. So this is, we have different Scrum teams. So we can have over 30, 40 different Scrum teams. So everybody in technology basically will come together in.
Cotton, TJ. Let me cotton. That is really insightful. Just stay there for a bit, TJ. So I just heard the word stadium where we play football. Did I misheard you? Did I miss?
Yeah. So we use the stadium. So we use one of the halls. Well, we use literally all the halls in the stadium. So at the moment we use Rico Arena in Coventry.
Fantastic.
They cannot take it for the day. We normally plan for like a week kind of thing. So no, for 3 days. But since this lockdown, we've been planning for the entire week from home, basically.
Okay. So it sounds like what you're building is rather large, and therefore the regular Scrum, as we know it, or the regular Kanban, as we know it, will not be fit for purpose. Therefore, you're now using a bigger framework, which is a scale Scrum framework. A framework for multiple scrums, as you put it, Scrum of scrums. So guys, for example, if you wanted to build a mobile phone, I've got an iPhone here with me. If you wanted to build this, you may be able to build it with Scrum if it's one product you're building and it is 1, 2, or 3 teams that are supporting the build of that product. You get away with Scrum. But when you're building one complex product, and you have multiple teams working on it, let's say up to 9 teams, you cannot use Scrum. It's not going to work. It's too big for Scrum. So what you do is you use a bigger Scrum, which is known as a scaled Scrum, a Scrum used for bigger products, to deliver that. You're still building one product. However, you have multiple teams working together to deliver that one product. You can imagine there'll be lots and lots of dependencies on this particular piece. This team cannot do what they want to do until that team has done something. Lots of dependencies going around, so it requires serious coordination. Now, in the experience that TJ is just sharing with us now, for them, all the Scrum members, Scale Scrum team members, to meet together, the only place that could take them in the city where their office is a stadium. So many people planning together ahead. I see someone ask a question, what did he call it? I think he called it SAVE, right? But there's several others. There's Nexus, which is popular as well. There's DAD, there's LESS, so many of them. Okay, so TJ, can you continue from stadium, because that really got my attention when you said stadium.
Yeah. So where was I? Okay. So we have this peer planning at the stadium, and the reason why we do that is because so that everybody working in technology are together at a location. Yeah. So we sometimes you need help from a different Scrum team to deliver something, but because you need to plan it ahead, so they need to be aware. So basically, we have we have the Scrum Master, and then we have the Agile coach, we have other people there, we have the product owner and things like that as well. So they will so me working as part of a Scrum team or as part of a dev team, if we need a different team to help us deliver something, maybe networks, we'll plan that feature in from our side, and also network team will also plan it for delivery. Let's say for delivery from that side as well. So they will tell us that, oh, at the moment we are kind of filled up now, but we've got availability in February, or second week in February, or second sprint in February or March. So we'll then take that date and then look at our own schedule as well to see where we can actually plan that feature from our side. And because we need their help, we need to kind of consider what they're delivering as well and how much effort and work is required from their side. And then we'll also look at we'll look at how critical it is for the business. So we can then use that to judge when we need to deliver it. If we can wait till March, or if it has to be done in January. So all of these questions and answers will keep going around the whole week whilst in the stadium. So they might be in a different floor, and we will be in a different floor, but we'll be communicating. So the PO will be going from left to right, and then the Scrum Master as well, So after every planning day, we have a check-in, like an hour, whereby you look at the cross-train features. So they're called cross-train features, right? So we will take our cross-train feature to we have a big board, where all these things go. And then the other team will come and have a look and see what kind of cross-match. You look at dates, look at time, look at sprint, and then we look at the resources that we need as well. So if you don't have enough resources to deliver that particular feature or that particular product, we would ask for some there. If we're able to get, then fine. If we cannot get, then we cannot plan it for delivery.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah.
Thanks, TJ. Just hang in there for a bit, TJ. Now, it's thought just hit me. One or two people on the call might be wondering, oh dear, I've not mastered Scrum. Now they're talking of scale Scrum. Don't lose heart, right? Continue with your Scrum, because really, you're right. You can't do scale Scrum if you're not a master of Scrum, right? You need to be a master of Scrum first before you can scale it. It's still Scrum, but just at a bigger level, right? So start with at the level where you are, master it, and then you'll be able to work in a scaled environment. Let me ask you one question, TJ. Similar to what I asked Prince earlier. So last week we looked at BDD, the Gherkin syntax for writing stories or scenarios. The week before that, we looked at impact mapping. It's a way of getting your user stories. The first week we looked at story mapping, a good way of getting user stories. Do you guys, now I know you work as a BA, do you elicit your requirements using any of these? If not, how do you elicit your requirements? We just want to bring it home to what we've been talking about in the past few weeks.
Well, we get the requirement. We get the requirement from. Let me bring it down a little bit, right? It might be a lot of stories, but we write user stories. We still use Jira for everything that we do. So as a developer, I want to be able to develop X, Y, Z so that the network team can do X, Y, Z. Yeah? That kind of format. That's what we do, right? But for it to get to that stage, again, it starts from the peer planning. So the program team, these are the senior bosses, they will have a list of features for us, maybe 15 features or 25 features or 40 features, and then they'll be like, okay, we are allocating this set of features to this team, that team, and things. So we will then plan it. So based on what they've given us, we then have a look at it and say, okay, this is what our team is able to do based on this list of features, right? So they've given us the very, very high level requirement, like, oh, we want to roll out a new security feature for mobile phones, right? So that's their own vision, right? So we as a team will then run with that vision and then break it down by ourselves in the peer planning. And then because you don't work alone, you work as part of the dev team. So you would have the IT guys who know all the technical stuff. You have the tester, so you have everybody on there. So based on their experience, they will tell you that, okay, this is my skill. I've got Office 365 skill. I've got this skill, and I think this way is supposed to work based on X, Y, Z. So all of this we do during the whole planning, during the whole planning session. And anyone that we are struggling with, we wouldn't plan it in because we don't have enough information on that. But we still get the requirement from the feature list that the program board will have given us. And then if we need more information or more understanding, it would invite them to our stand at the peer planning for them to explain what they've given to us. And then we'll plan it in based on that. And then if we're struggling during the sprint and things like that, they're always there to support. Most of the time anyway. So they're always there to support. And yeah, I think that's the way it's been working. And we've been doing Scaled Agile for, I think the company has been doing it for like, this is our third year now, I think. Brilliant.
Excellent. Yeah, that's excellent. Thanks for sharing your experience, TJ. I'm sure there is a couple of questions for you guys. Is there a question that you have for TJ based on what he just shared?
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, this is Victor. This is Victor Gumiwa. I was part of the MS program last year.
Hey, Victor, you're right.
Hi, TJ. Are you well? So basically, I was just kind of putting a few input based on what TJ just said, and hi Prince. Thanks so much for the lectures, by the way. Haven't heard from you in a time. So what I was gonna say is two things. From the safe perspective, which is the scaled agile framework for enterprise, because I'm currently doing a project at Vodafone, and it's quite arguably the most difficult project right now at Vodafone, considering how we provide communication services for most companies. And looking at things from that perspective, you want to understand how the SAFe framework, it's predominantly most applicable for complex projects. You know, if you're not working on most complex projects, you wouldn't want to think about SAFe in that view. Well, this is the best of my knowledge, guys, by the way. So yeah, so that being said, if you're looking at scaled agile, for example, how TJ has highlighted the PI planning, it's real. You know, we use the Vodafone house where we have over 4,000 people coming in for these kind of stuff, you know, like the proper planning where we have people representing from India, they have to fly in. We have people from Spain, we have people from Romania, we have different people. So ultimately, it's just that program view where you want to understand how if we break down this program to different, views of projects now or different sort of like deliverables, you're trying to understand how, okay, these are the dependencies coming from this certain department, or these are the dependencies coming from. So it's just that proper view that, once you understand that ultimately you want to be managing stakeholders or you want to be gathering requirements, it's just that big view of a complex product, because yeah. So I was just gonna say that, and then also for the previous question that someone asked about, okay, what would you be doing, in like day-to-day kind of, activities, aside, okay, let's say for example, you've highlighted a few requirements in the sprint and you don't know what to do. So ultimately, from my view, is how what Prince and TJ did highlight just before. This was way back, and that stuck in my head where it's more of like stakeholder management, requirements engineering, and gap analysis ultimately as a business analyst, where you know that if you want to implement that to agile framework, which is an incremental delivery and like evolutionary development. So that means even if you've made an agreement for certain requirement for like 2 weeks or 4 weeks and like the sprint, you still have to, it's dynamic. You have to like every day engage. There must be kind of like prioritize that requirement. There might be any, you want to align one stakeholder to another stakeholder.
100%, Victor. I agree with you. Thank you. Thank you very much for speaking up. TJ, do you have a response to that? Anything to add to what Victor? I think he was responding to your experience.
Yeah, I think it's quite spot on. It's quite the same, really. We normally have around over 4,000 as well. People coming and people coming from India and around places. Of course, India, they're the ones who do most of our testing anyway, and so if they can't fly in, there's always a rep around, to convey all these things back to them. And so it's always a very busy period, and you will get to learn more about other people, about other projects as well whilst you're there. And with people coming to you for questions, and it's just a very good, good way of working, really. So I would always recommend it.
Excellent, thank you, TJ, and thank you, Victor. That was really insightful. That Vodafone you said, amazing. Now we've got a few minutes left, so we can take 2 more questions. But before that, remember that all of this knowledge, especially if you're not currently in IT employment, all of this knowledge will mean nothing to the employers until the time when you put it on your CV to make them know what you know. I know you know it because lots of you call me and we chat, and I know what you know. You write me, you leave feedback on the social media, YouTube, etc. I know it. But until the time when these are reflected on your CV, they will not know what you know. And they need to know what you know for them to invite you over for an interview. So think about structuring some of these and exposing your knowledge on your resumes, as the Americans would say, but on your CVs, right? Think about exposing your knowledge of all of these by putting them down on your CV. That is the way to go. That is the way to go. You have to do it. The world is agile and it's going to be even more agile if that's possible. It's going to be even more agile post COVID-19. It just has to be. It just has to be, because that is a more flexible and a more dependable way of doing things, really. So think about that. Reflect those on your CVs. Now we can take one or two more questions before we wrap up. Is there any questions? On the screen right now, we've got our details. Our website address is there, mscareers.co.uk. Please make a note of it. The email address, then that mobile number actually is mine. So please make a note of it. If you want to have a chat after this call, just give us a chat. Give us a call. Let's talk about.
I had a question.
Yeah, just one moment, and we've got our link to the social media platforms that we are on: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. It's all at MS Careers. Be great if you followed us or like whatever they do on the respective social media platforms. That would be great. Okay, there's a gentleman that had a question. Please go ahead.
Sorry, Prince. I couldn't see a raised hand in my systems here. I do apologize. My name is Sham. This question I had was, do we have to take Agile Scrum before we take a Scrum Master certification?
Agile Scrum Master certification. Okay, so let me answer the question like this. When you take the Scrum Master qualification from Scrum.org, which is one of the leading providers of that qualification, you are grounded in Agile Scrum. You're Agile Scrum qualified, essentially. That's why I struggled a little bit with the question. I dare say that I want to do something, really. If you are a Scrum Master, it means you know it all relating to Agile Scrum. Yeah, that's the best way of putting it. Do you see? So there could be one and the same thing, really, Shan, not two separate things. Yeah? So the course I said I was taking this weekend is Scrum Master qualification, which builds you up in Agile Scrum, irrespective of what your role is in Agile. It could be BA, could be product owner, whatever, but that is suited for it. Okay?
Thank you, Prince.
Okay. Someone's asking, how do we get recording? Now, today's recording plus all the previous recordings are available on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is MS Careers. So please go there. You'll find all the recordings. I request that you please subscribe to our channel. Like the videos, leave a comment, leave questions, etc. We really appreciate that. I think Tolu had a question. I saw Tolu raise her hand. Tolu, can you speak now? That's fine. Come off mute and speak. I see you had a question. Hey, Tolu, do you want to go ahead with your question or comment? You might be on mute. I know you have a really good question. Okay, I can read it, actually. Oh, we can't hear you. Sorry, Tolu, we can't hear you if you're speaking. We can't hear you. Okay, so let me look through the questions and see if that's a cool one that we could take now. Should we say Agile is interaction and communication? Interaction and communication are crucial and are key to Agile. Yes, I will say that, definitely. Oh, sorry, Tolu, we can't really hear you. Sorry. We know you're speaking, but we can't hear you. I do apologize for that. But you know where I am, Tolu. Give me a call after this or drop me a message on WhatsApp or any social media platform. We'll be excited to respond. Now, guys, listen, this weekend again, one more time, we'll be in class teaching Agile Scrum, leading to you becoming a certified Scrum Master, highly sought after in the industry. If you fancy it, give us a shout or register on our website. The address is on the screen. We had the RPA course last weekend, I think it was. Yes, it was absolutely amazing. Again, it's a virtual course. Well, it's taught virtually. So think about that. We've got the cyber security as well, delivered virtually. The business analysis, training, and work experience, all of these are delivered virtually. Project management, all delivered virtually. So think about the area you want to develop yourself further in readiness for the post-COVID-19 era, which you and I know it's going to be an interesting one. Okay, it's Agile Scrum for beginner. All of our training is really broken down. So yes, if you're a beginner, if you're experienced, that course is for you. Those have been on it will tell you how well broken down they are. If you're a beginner, you will take off nicely. We're not going to lose you. Okay, is there a question?
Fred, I just wanted to add something a little bit to Sham's question. So guys, really important. Once you take your Scrum course, what happens is that it gives you the avenue not only to apply for BA jobs, however, now that you've taken it, you'll be able to apply for Scrum Master jobs as well as product owners too as well. So it widens the spectrum in terms of what is available to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Prince. Okay, TJ, someone totally has a question for you, but we can't hear her. Guys, just bear us 1 or 2 more minutes. I think I'm really keen to take Tolu's question because I know she's been trying to ask it. TJ, question for you. There's a lot of work that goes on during requirements analysis. Do you rely on top dogs for this, or do you have product owners as well for Scrum or Scrums? I think I understand it, yeah. So you're still, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, hi, Tolu. I know you've been trying to reach out. So we do have product owners for literally every development team. So every development team has a product owner. So they're like the intermediary between we, the Scrum team or the dev team, and the top the top dogs, as you mentioned it. So they are there to help us out. They're there to help us understand the requirements, break it down, and it's their role really, to help us out. So they are there. So for every Scrum team or development team, there's a product owner for that particular team.
Perfect. Thanks, TJ. Right, listen, guys, I want to say a big thank you to every single one of you for joining us in this past 4 weeks. We've had people from the UK, Ireland, Nigeria, the United States of America, Canada, Australia, France, and I think it was Germany, Mozambique as well. I want to thank you, Luxembourg as well. I want to thank you so much for having joined us this past 4 weeks. Really grateful. Like I said, all the recordings are available on our YouTube channel at MS Careers. Now, we are considering the next series that we're going to bring to you. So keep a lookout on our social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp, everywhere. We're going to announce something really cool, something exciting. So look out for those, and those should be coming your way soon. And remember to keep our contact details, because you might need them, you never know. And if you have people who are interested in what we do, please send them our way. We're happy to support as much as we can. But once again, thank you very much for participating. Go on our YouTube channel, subscribe, like. What else do you do there? You leave your comments as well. Really grateful. All right, guys. Thank you, and I'll see you some other time. Gracias.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Fred.
Bye.
Yeah.
Company, you've been lovely.
Thank you, Fred.